Welcome to Hawaii Real. I have with me a good friend of mine, Grant Chapman. He's going to talk to us today about the philosophies of success, achieving your goals, and a little bit more. He's been all over the world. He's a great traveler, and he just has a really great mindset for how to accomplish your goals, you know, thinking outside the box, feeling outside the box, stuff like that. And I've learned a lot from this guy, and he's going to tell us something about this stuff.
Yeah, well, thank you much. Thank you so much for having me on. Wow, incredible. Feels different when you got headphones in, you know?
You got yourself. That big, sexy voice.
That's true.
So, yes.
Big and sexy.
I'm sure you got that Peruvian accent.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Peruvians have a little lisp, but I speak a little Spanish.
Oh, yeah?
Hablo español.
Say something super sexy for...
Oye, hermosa, ¿dónde estás? Hey, beautiful, where are you? Or, hola, hermosa, ¿dónde vas? Where are you going?
Okay. Work on that, bud. So, how do you measure your success?
Ooh, great question.
Because everybody's going to have a different kind of measurement for success, right? Somebody, like, buying a car is a success. Graduating from college is a success. Graduating from high school is a success. Like, where do you put your bar? How do you measure that? And
I think Earl Nightingale said it the best. The measurement of success, or what success is, for, like you just said, for everyone, it's different. So the measurement of success is doing what you really love to do and moving forward in that either aspect or that field or that feeling that you're having. I think that could be success. So for example, for a housemaker or a housewife or a house husband, you could say nowadays, right? For him or her to keep their house together and have it the way they want it to be when their spouse or when their kids come home is a definition of success for that person. So for me, I measure success in the same way now after listening to that talk, was that my measurement of success is doing what I really love to do and it moving forward and me feeling good about it is how I measure success for myself. And paychecks.
Paychecks. That's a great measurement of success right there. It's like getting money, getting paid.
That is true.
Sorry, that was really loud. Sorry.
But not for everybody wants money, right? If you grew up with money, maybe that's not something you want. I didn't really grow up with money. So measuring success is not only earning income for me, but doing the things I can do with the income I'm earning. So traveling or food or just coming to spend the day or come and hang out with you. It's like, hey, today's Thursday. Let's go meet at this time. Okay, great. Let's do it. You know, like just having that whim of time to do what I want is success to me.
So you're not tied down or bogged down with like corporate stuff or anything like that. It's like, hey, I want to go. I'm going to go and I'm going to take care of this and I'm going to have fun and whatnot.
Yeah, for me, that would be, that'd definitely be a measurement of success. The fact that I can do or go a lot of places that I choose to when I want to. Obviously, I'm still working on getting to the places where I can be like, let's go to Milan for tea. Like,
wow. Okay.
You know, I know people that do that. Like, I have a friend that went to Milan for tea and met somebody and stayed there for 5 years.
Wow.
Like,
just uprooted their life and moved.
No, he went for tea and just stayed.
Stayed in Italy.
He didn't uproot anything. He just kept everything back in Canada where he's from, and he just stayed for 5 years with the lady that he wanted to be with.
So that's a good measurement of success, being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it and not having like all those boundaries and hurdles and stuff like that.
Yeah. I definitely think he probably had a few hurdles and some things to do, but definitely opening up the boundaries. I like that you used the word boundaries, not having so many boundaries or having your boundaries really, really open, you know.
And I use hurdles as like an analogy because hurdles are meant to be jumped over. They're not meant to stop you. They're meant to be run through, jumped over, whatever, gone around, it's something there in your path. It's there for you to, succeed past.
That's true.
However that's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Tony Robbins said something to the effect of like, failures or defeats weren't meant to be there to give you a hard time. They're meant to put you in a place that's discomfort or being in a place that's uncomfortable so you can get out of that and you can move forward to what you really want to do, not go backwards. And I really look at that, like anytime I'm in a place where I'm just in discomfort, I'm like, wow, okay, what is around me that I need to learn? What can I improve on? And why does this hurt so much? Like, oh, I don't enjoy this. Okay, I need to grow and learn and move forward.
Mm-hmm. You just posted like a great post I read on Facebook today, just a few hours ago. Something about comfort is the enemy of...
Yeah, comfort zone is death.
Comfort zone is death.
Basically.
Yeah, explain. Go.
Wow, good question. I don't have my phone on because I know it's going to ring every couple of minutes. But basically, when you're sitting in your comfort circle or zone, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, as we've learned with the Psi philosophy, you're in decay. And if you're in decay, that means you're dying. Slowly but surely, you are dying internally. And so I do my best to always keep myself outside of my comfort circle. Like today, this is my first time doing a podcast, and it's like I'm usually a public speaker, but as soon as the headphones goes on, I'm like, oh my God, this is a little... and there's only us here, well, and the rest of you, but but really it's just us having a conversation.
Yeah.
But every day, so comfort circle equals death. And why do I say that is that most of your dreams are all outside of your comfort circle. Mm-hmm. So if you really want your dreams, you need to step outside. But what happens is, I think a lot of us, we get comfortable, especially if we live in Hawaii. We get really comfortable here. Sandy Beach is down the street. We have Park Beach right here. You can easily just every weekend go out with the kids and have a barbecue and then forget about your passion, forget about your dreams. And really, I think with that being said, people use kids as a great excuse for a dream stealer, which I'm really frustrated with. I kind of want to scold a lot of parents on that one, but we'll go back to the comfort circle. So pushing yourself outside of your comfort and your limits, I really believe you'll start to obtain everything you want in life. And that's at the moment where you can start to expand like your world and your universe, because you never know. You might have something that's better,
Yeah. Now, for me specifically, like definitely doing the podcast is something outside of my comfort zone. Like I'm an introvert. I don't have a whole lot of friends. I don't talk to a whole lot of people. I don't really do interview stuff. I'm not a public speaker, even though I've been told, hey, you're pretty good at public speaking. It's like, it still terrifies me. I think it terrifies a lot of people too. But what I've learned through the years is that you got to tackle your fears and take risks and accept failures, accept that you're going to fail. Like but you're doomed to fail. And that's good. It's a good thing. Like you have to fail in order to succeed, in order to learn how to succeed. Mm-hmm. But if you're not even willing to take those risks because you're afraid of failing, then you're within that comfort zone still. Yeah. And you're just forever going to, work that city and county or state job or work for somebody else where you're just getting a steady paycheck. You're never going to be rich, but you're never going to be poor. You're just going to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. And that's like you said, that's decay. Like you're not going to go any further than that.
And two things you touched on that really caught my attention was that, it did catch my attention, but public speaking, like you just said, public speaking is the number one fear outside of being burnt alive or jumping outside of buildings.
Being burnt alive is pretty damn scary.
No, exactly. Like there's people that rather die by being burnt alive than actually talking in front of a stage of people. Yeah. People would rather die than speak in public.
That's so crazy. It's like,
which where does that come from, right? Like, where did we learn that?
It's not that bad.
It's really not that bad. I mean, once you start getting the first sentence out, you're just on a roll typically.
Sure. Yeah. I always, speaking of public speaking, one of my tactics was to always envision myself talking to like a friend, not talking to a crowd of people, like going in front of like one or two people or, family members or even my children and just talking to my children. Like I'm not public speaking to the crowd. I'm public speaking to like my son, which I can do. Like that's easy. I can stand there forever and scold him and talk to him or, have a conversation with him or just teach him something, all these different things. And I just take that into like the public speaking arena. It's like, well, no, you're just talking to your kids.
Oh, that's amazing.
So when you like switch that in your brain, it kind of makes that fear kind of go away a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. For me, public speaking, I've never had a fear or anxiety or really stage fright kind of a thing. I've never experienced that part, but But I do understand that there is a lot of fear, and I've had my own fear. Like, I'm afraid of heights. I don't enjoy heights.
Wow.
I do not like heights. I mean,
I'm the opposite. Like, I have fear of public speaking, but heights don't scare me at all.
not at all.
Not at all.
So if you're on like Pac Beach Hotel at the top floor looking over, you're
I love
fine.
that shit.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll hang over the side and like,
Wow. Won't go with you anywhere near that thing. No, I totally freak out. Like even talking about it, my hands get all sweaty. Like they weren't earlier until we just talked about that. And then now they're really like, look, they're like glistening. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't.
Okay, so we'll keep you on the ground.
Yeah. Like I can do airplanes. Like being up here on the ridge is fine. Hiking Hoilo Ridge. I love to hike. Hiking. I can hike up ridges all day. But for some reason, when there's just a little rail and I'm right there, I just get really super anxiety. Wow, I actually think about that. That's the only time I probably really get anxiety.
It's not bad though. I mean, a lot of people are afraid of heights, and it's a valid fear. Like you might die.
Yeah, if you fall,
Like-
good or bad,
Public speaking, you're not gonna die.
you will not die.
No.
Well, no, you
No,
won't die.
you're not gonna die.
Not at all.
Anyways, so what other kind of things do you have on the philosophy of success?
Wow. Well, number one, I would say the most, if you want to have success, whatever it looks like for anybody, so I've been traveling the last 5 years studying, shouldn't say just studying, working and practicing and studying all at the same time. I've watched people who've made millions. I met actually 2 people that make over $1 million a month income. 1.3. He's a Chinese guy.
That's crazy. That's like,
He makes over $1 million US a month.
folks, that is my level of success. Like
Yeah.
that would be a definition of success. I'm successful.
Yeah, he's very successful and he's super young. He's probably in his I think he's like right under his 50s, like kind of 50 years old, 40, 45, 50. And when we were talking to him, I asked what is the number one thing that he could equate his success to? Because I got some time to spend with this guy. And he just said, just be really clear focused.
But what does that mean?
So I've dove into that. So being clear or laser minded means just having only one objective in sight and nothing else. There's nothing else that's important. If you have kids, that's something that you might have to talk to kids and be like, okay, we're going to move you here because I need to go there, but don't worry, you're not forgotten about. If you have a wife or a spouse or people you're taking care of, you have to be real clear and lasered to say, okay, this is my objective. This is where I'm going. And every inch of you needs to focus on that. And that needs to be really clear. Because if that's not clear, you don't know what you're going to get.
Okay, so we're talking about comfort being the death of you.
Yes. Comfort's the death of me and of you too. Of all of us.
Of all of us. But if you're comfortable dying, then what does that mean?
Well, well, that's actually good. That's actually a little thing to be said. Like, I heard something. I listened to a lot of actually podcasting and a lot of like music with inspirational Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, like those kind of guys. and Zig and was it Zig or Les Brown? One of the guys said like, if you live your entire life with no meaning, you've accomplished really nothing, and you die, basically meant you were never here.
Okay. That's freaking deep.
Like, imagine, how old are you now?
41.
Okay, so I'm 33, 41. So imagine
Why you gotta out me like that in front of my audience?
So imagine we both live to 100 years old.
Right.
But we never accomplished anything.
Right.
We wasted 100 years in a space, energy, or whatever we believe in, and we never left our footprint
On the world kind of thing.
on the world. And like that really kind of took me back. Like, wow, like imagine dying and leaving nothing. It really means you were never here.
Right.
And like,
In a sense that your existence didn't necessarily matter to the world.
at all. Well, not even a finite significant of anything.
Short of like having children. Like if you have children and you raise them, they could eventually do stuff, or your grandkids could do stuff.
Correct. But no one will know that was you.
Yeah. I
Like,
guess.
there's no Duke Hanamoku statue of like Grant Chapman or at the moment. Not yet, exactly.
I can't surf, so
But I think you got the idea.
Yeah.
Not of surfing at all. But that really caught my attention to be like, wow, I'm 33 years old. What have I accomplished? And not to dwell on it, but say, okay, what more can I accomplish with the next 70 years or 70, 80 years that I'm going to be living?
Sure.
And I plan to live till 125. So I'm doing everything in my best bet to stay on that with meditations and practicing and not drinking soda, drinking beer instead because it has water in it.
Hey, man, we're just eating our carbs.
There you go.
We're just
Eat
eating
the carbs.
Drinking our bread.
But I think so like you you asked about the philosophies of success, and the first thing we talked about was comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really important every day to step out of your comfort zone, at least for a few minutes a day or an hour if possible. But I tell people 10 minutes a day. Step into something you fear every day for 10 minutes. And if every day you take a step, eventually you'll be fearless. And that's kind of what courage is. Courage is taking failure over and over again, not losing enthusiasm to go after what you want.
Yeah, it's one good way of looking at it.
See,
when I was in college, I read up and did studies on. I took military history in college, but one of my favorite historical figures is Alexander the Great.
Nice.
And he had that same frame of mind. He's like, what have I done to leave my mark on the world? Well, okay, I'm 13 years old. I'm going to do this. I'm 15 years old. I'm going to do this. And by the time he was in his 20s, he's like conquered Persia. I mean, he did so much in his lifetime, and then he went more. He wanted to do more and more and more. And he had that frame of mind that if I don't leave my mark, nobody's going to remember me. And Julius Caesar was said to have studied from the exploits of Alexander the Great, and he wanted to be in a similar way, leave his mark on the world. And everybody recognizes the name Julius Caesar, right? But he wasn't. I mean, he was the first quote unquote Caesar, but he wasn't really an emperor in that sense. Like, he was killed like shortly after he declared himself dictator of the republic and stuff like that. So
don't declare yourself a dictator.
But he's famous for that, and
Right.
and everybody knows his name. But he wasn't like one of the great Caesars. He was just the first. Like Augustus, his nephew, was far more successful as an emperor than Julius actually ever was. But everybody knows Julius.
That's true.
So maybe it's the pizza. I don't know. It's probably it.
I think when you're the first,
Maybe.
could be the first.
Maybe. But he wasn't the best.
No, but we remember him.
Yeah.
And, I think to touch on that, like the philosophies of success, which is our kind of our topic deal, I think really just being really clear-minded on what you want and focusing on what you want and creating goals and habits that support what you want, I think is really the first steps of moving forward. And just to find out what you love to do, find out what you're good at. A lot of people focus on what they suck at, and just focus on what you're good at and go do more of that.
And sometimes you don't know what you're good at until you do it.
That's true. There's other people that tell you that you're good at it. Like, hey, you're
Right.
really good at this. You should public speak.
Right.
Yeah,
That happens. And you should listen to those people when they say that you're good at something.
that's true.
But don't listen to the people who say that you suck at stuff.
No, don't listen to them.
Yeah.
Ignore them.
Yeah. It's one of those weird things. Like, listen to these guys who give you positive reinforcement, but don't listen to the guys that give you negative reinforcement. Because negative reinforcement kind of sucks. Unless
Yeah.
it's constructive criticism, which isn't really negative. It's constructive criticism. They're trying to give you positive information.
And also to touch with that, another success tip or a success habit would be don't worry about what too much people say about you or think or how they feel,
That's huge.
and just not let that affect you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I tell people, like, anybody that says anything negative or I don't agree with, I just think about, like, do they pay my rent? Nope. Okay, have a good day.
Well, it's like people that get like raised trucks that don't go off-roading or anything like that. It's like, why do you do that? It's like, because you want to have that image. You want other people to see you in a certain light. It's like, that doesn't make you. That doesn't matter. Like, you're going to be the same person whether you have that lifted truck or not, kind of thing.
But they're usually little
Well,
when they get out of the truck.
they have a little ladder outside the truck.
Yeah, they totally have that. I don't know if you've seen those guys, but they're really, I've never seen a really big 6 foot yoked out dude ever in a lifted, like, huge truck.
That's true.
No, it never. It's that whole what's it called? Compensating deal, I guess. Mentality compensating doesn't mean for body parts, okay? People.
Okay. What about goal setting?
Ooh, goal setting.
Yeah. Because that leads you on the road to success, right? You have
Correct.
to start with small. You got to have your big goals down the line, but in order to get there, you have a bunch of small goals.
Yeah. Did you see the thing out on UCLA? UCLA did a study, I think a couple decades ago. I don't know if you saw that. So basically, they followed a group of 10 or 15 people that, and some of them set goals and some of them didn't set goals. And the ones that actually wrote down their goals and stayed, well, continuing to write down their goals were in the top 3% of the world. And they went back and they looked at the same people that were writing their goals through college, through high school, and always keeping on their goals. And so it actually shows that people that write down their goals and that consistently write down their goals are highly more successful than the run-of-the-mill people, because if you're not writing your goals down, you're not clear what you want. And if you're not clear on what you want, anything can just, the wind can take you to the rocks. Right. Anything can blow the sail any which way. But if you're really clear on what you want and you have it written down, you can get to your destination a lot quicker. And there's actually a trick to writing goals down, actually. I'm doing a 30-day test right now of writing what I want every day for the next 30 days. And it's writing what I want for my life, for 5 years, for 1 year, for 1 month, 1 week, today and tomorrow. So just every day, what do I want in my lifetime? What do I want to happen in 5 years? And then just go down the list. And surprisingly, it changes. It changes on a time to time. And one of the things that I wrote down was I wanted to do a podcast, actually a YouTube video. I wrote that down like this week. I was like, okay.
Like you want to do one, or you want to do like?
Well, I didn't actually write down how many I wanted to do. That would have been a better idea. But I wanted to start myself because I want to build one of these as well. So that was so funny that we met up perfectly. I wanted to do one. And instead of me having to produce it, someone else produced it. And I just had to show up.
It's one of those weird things about coincidence. And when you think about things that happen in your life that you might think have been coincidental, I don't see that as coincidence anymore. I see it as the universe like pointing you into one direction or following your goals or stuff like that. Like the universe will put things in your path for you to grasp onto or for you to avoid.
Correct.
And if you really want something, like you said, you're thinking about doing a podcast, and then, hey, Grant, you should go on a podcast with EO.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how does that happen? It's not coincidence. Like it's a frame of mind thing. And when people think it's coincidence and they start to negate all of those coincidences, quote unquote, that do happen around them, they're like, it's just coincidence. And they just don't follow it.
Yeah.
And for one of my things with the coincidence thing, starting the podcast, like I had an idea to start a podcast. I just wanted to do it. I had all these reasons why I wanted to do it. And before I actually started to dive into it, I'd gotten a magazine in the mail. It was one of the Punahou alumni magazines that they sent to all.
You went to Punahou?
No, my wife did. So she gets the magazine. I never read that thing because it's just got pictures of the alumni, and it has like articles about what people are doing now, and it's from people who just graduated through the people who are like 80, 90 years old. Clearly not my stuff. But for some reason, I wanted to look at that. I was sitting there. I was like, I'll just look at this. So I open it up and I flip, and I'm not looking at the thing because, the family members and everybody are talking in the living room. And so I'm just flipping through. And I stop and I look down, and it's an article on podcasting. And not like half an hour before I'm thinking about podcasting and stuff like that. And then there you go, right? So is that coincidence, or is that the universe saying like, do it?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the universe saying do it or don't do it. I would say that you lined up your vibration with whatever thing that you want. You lined up your, don't hit the microphones. Leave my microphones alone. So you lined up your vibration with what you wanted, and that article was on the same vibration that you were on. So you met.
Yeah. That's a really good way to put it too.
It's not good, bad, ugly, or beautiful. It's none of those things. It's not I'm supposed to do this, I'm not supposed to do this. All it is that you have different how do I say that? You have different waves in the ocean. Like if you look from the ocean from the bottom to the top, you have things that live on this level, you have things that live on this level, and things that live on this level. And the things that live here are going to connect. The things that live here and live here are not going to connect. So
you're talking about like different wavelengths, different frequencies, different vibration,
exactly.
light waves, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. There are different wavelengths. Everything emits a frequency. Everything. Our body energy emits a frequency. Our thoughts emit frequencies. This was proven in, I don't know what year, but this was proven in the Olympics. Your thoughts can emit microwaves. So that tells me that your body's a magnet. And so whatever you're thinking about or whatever whatever consistent thought that you're having in your mind, the universe is going to conspire to put more of those things in front of you to match up what you are thinking. That's why rich get richer and poor get poorer. It's not other than the fact of who they're around and what they're thinking all the time. I mean, there's evidence of that in all of our cultures. It's like when you think about someone and then they call you.
Yes.
Yeah, you're just on the same wavelengths.
Or what I've done a lot of times, actually not too much now because we don't listen to the radio so much, but I remember as a high schooler hearing a song in my head going over and over and over again for about 5 minutes or so. Not a long time. Just like I would hear the song in my head, be like, good vibrations, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah.
And then the freaking song would come on the radio.
That's awesome.
It's like, and it would happen like routinely. Enough so that I noticed that it was happening. I would hear a song in my head, and then not a minute or two later, it's on the radio. And it's not like I heard parts of the song before. No, I wasn't listening to the radio.
Yeah.
And then turn on the radio, and like the next song to play would be the song that's in my head.
You should test this theory with other things. Like just consciously dwell on something on purpose and see if it actually shows up in your reality.
Hypothesis.
Why not? I challenge all of you guys to do this. Concentrate on something for 30 days and don't let it waver from your mind. Just have it on your phone, have it on your mirror in your bathroom, have it in your car, and just dwell on this one thing for 30 days.
That's a really good point of advice, like putting a visual out for
absolutely
whatever your goal is. I remember when I was starting my company, Rollerfly, and doing that product, I had a calendar, and I would look at that calendar every day, and every day I had written in the blocks like what I should be doing. And if I didn't have something going on the next day, no matter how small it was, but it was something. And that over the 30 days, like, voila, like the Rollerfly like was beautiful. Like
Rollerfly.com.
It was a lot of work, but it came to fruition,
I remember you were printing cards for that. I don't know if I helped you with that.
Yes.
I don't know if I did or not.
You did. I totally bought those cards from you guys.
We printed
some.
little cards that flipped over and you could staple them together.
Yeah.
I remember that.
You were working at that print shop company.
I was. They're out of business now.
Yeah. And
30 years later.
It's one of those, like for that, it's one of those where like, were they complaining that people or that the paper was costing too much? Or was it just the fact that people stopped printing paper? People just stopped buying magazines, buying newspapers and stuff like that.
Yeah. People are not really using so much I don't want to use the word ancient advertising, but print goods.
Yeah.
People are not using as much print goods because our eyeballs are attached to these cell phones. So all your marketing efforts really should go to digital marketing space, really, because we're not Vegas. We can't put up banners. So
that's true. We can't put up billboards and stuff on the side of the road, that kind of thing.
So everything should be through, I don't want to say Facebook advertisements, but it should be towards online advertising if that's where.
And like even in the mainland, like the billboards and stuff that they have, a lot of them have gone away from like a wallpaper kind of plastered billboard to like an electronic television looking thing where it changes.
Yeah. And that's actually not that's not the companies. Those are the actual advertising companies. They can get more ad space on one mirror and it'll cost less.
Yeah.
So more people advertise. I don't really like those forms of advertising because they're more generic advertising that advertises for an industry. I like more niche advertising. I think on your phone is good because you see it, you like it, you click it, you're like, boom, I want this.
But then how do you get that to even show up on your phone to begin with?
They have algorithms for that.
I know, but then what if you don't know what you want to do and your phone doesn't know? Your phone knows what you're doing, it, by the way.
Oh yeah, you YouTube. I mean, you search for something on Safari. A couple minutes later, it's on your Facebook. Because let's do something
And
called.
it's on your Amazon and all this stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
and actually, I know how to do that.
yeah.
Coming up on next commercial break, how to do that. Just kidding. I'm not going to teach you guys today how to do that. How to get the things that you really want. I think that's, that's something that I think a lot of people need to not only know how to do, but how to practice and actually do.
Okay.
Because the new year is coming up. I'm assuming this is going to be out before the new year.
Yes.
So 2020 is coming in. How do we set those New Year's resolutions? I'm like, what are those words? I don't set resolutions. I just do what I want to do and just go after them. Who cares what day it is? But no, how to accomplish the things that you want, how to get them quick as possible, and how to be happy about getting them is something I would like to discuss. And I think number one is being clear on what you want. I think that's the most important thing. And if you don't know what you want, you need to go spend some time figuring that out. Because if you don't know what you want, you'll never go anywhere. You just be stuck at home doing the same old riff every day. And then your life is the same place 10 years later. And then you blame somebody for not having your dreams.
Yeah.
So number one, I think to know what you want, you have to figure out knowing what you want. And a good way to do that is to take some time by yourself and think about what makes you happy and the things that you really want to contribute to the world and the things that you want. I think a couple aspects is number one, writing something that you want for yourself, things that you want for your family, and things you want to give to the world for receiving 1 and 2. What am I willing to give back to the world? Because nothing's for free. So you have to give something in return. But really, really in layman's terms, I would say write it down. Just find out what you want and write it down. And just be very clear focus and having an unwavering desire for that.
Now, could it be something as general as like, I don't want to work 40 hours or 50 hours or 60 hours at this job anymore for the rest of my life?
So wonderful. So actually, I would change that statement into saying so instead of dwelling on I don't want to do this, I have a saying called "Donde estás tus pesos?" Where do you put your money? So I'll go into this when I answer that. So every thought, every feeling is a currency. Okay. Every thought you have, every feeling you have is a currency. You have 2 banks in life. One bank is the things I don't want, and the other bank is what I do want. And it will repay you with interest. I don't want to work on this job that is 9 to 5, 40-year job. You're depositing money in what I don't want. And you're going to get back in interest of what you don't want.
As long as you keep depositing into that. Yeah.
As long as you deposit in that bank. I think this is a very logical way to think about this, that you have 2 banks in life. So every day, every thought, every feeling, you're making a deposit. Now, where do you want to deposit? I don't want to work 40 hours or 40 years for the rest of my life. Or, wow, I would love an opportunity where I could travel the world, spend time with my family, and have enough income to do what I want. Like there's that little adjustment. We were saying the same thing, but just the adjusting of how it feels. How do you feel if I say I don't want to work 40 years for the rest of my life? How does that feel? Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Kind of like a downer, right? But what about having the freedom to travel the world with your family and your 2 kids?
Right. That feels good.
It feels good. So where we're depositing our feelings, our energy, and our thoughts, I think is really clearly what we're going to receive at the end of the day. So be clear. Be clear on what you want.
But think in a positive direction. Don't think in the negative of what you don't want. Think of what you do want. As far as like, in your mind, you may say, okay, I don't want to work this 40-hour job getting just this regular paycheck. What do I really want? Oh, I want to like sit on the beach and get a paycheck, or not even a paycheck, but get money into like going into my bank on a weekly or monthly basis that's going to support my lifestyle that I want to live. Like I want to sit on the beach, I want to watch TV, I want to play video games, I want to do this, I want to do that. and I don't want to work, have to go to work at 6 in the morning and,
But now
that kind of thing.
But now, really, if you think about it, is that really what you or that person wants?
Mm-hmm.
Because I hear a lot of times people saying exactly that. Hey, I want to sit on the beach of Hawaii or the Bahamas and not have to work. But honestly, if you did that for a couple of years, you probably wouldn't want that after a while.
Right. You totally get bored. But I think I would like to have the opportunity to make that a reality and just be like, you know what? I can do this if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, I'm not even able to do that at all.
And so I like that. That's really good. So now the next thing I would say is to do your visualizations. So I would say 30 minutes a day visualizing the person you intend to become. Because if thoughts are things, thoughts shape your reality. If what you think about, you create. If we believe any of that nonsense, I call it nonsense because it's only nonsense until you do it.
Mm-hmm.
How many minutes or hours are you spending in your mind?
Right.
I think Einstein said, not illusions, but creativity. What did he say was the most powerful thing? And there were thoughts, not thoughts. Illusions, doodling, scallywag. It escapes my mind. A childlike mentality. I don't know. I'm going to paraphrase. So spending time in your mind, creating your, like your daydreaming is actually one of the most important things you could do. But do you agree with this?
Absolutely. I'm a total daydreamer.
Okay. So how many hours a day or minutes a day do you spend consciously daydreaming of what you want? Like, like consciously, like I'm going to go and close my eyes.
Not enough right now.
Okay. And I think we all do this. I'm guilty of this as well for the most part. But when I start accomplishing, like I traveled the world for the last 5 years, literally for free. For the last 5 years, I've been traveling over 20 to 30 days a month for free. I can't tell you how I did it, but legally. But I did it. I made an arrangement with somebody and I would travel and I would do my job, and a piece of my job, there was a little part that they got out of that. And I spent the last 5 years traveling the world completely. I didn't have to really pay for any of it. That's what I wanted to do. I really wanted that with utmost feeling in my gut. And people said to think is to create. People said if you hold it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands.
Right.
So the question is, how often are you holding it in your mind so it could be reality in your hands?
And most people are just working and they're getting busy and they're doing this and doing that, or they're watching television.
Imagination. That's what Einstein said. Imagination is the most important thing.
Oh, definitely.
So, sorry to cut you off, but it popped in my brain.
No, no, that's great. Like, I'm totally in agreement with that, and I totally believe that you have to use your imagination and you have to stick to that childhood part of yourself that has since grown and evolved and been educated and whatnot, but still use that imagination to see what is maybe quote unquote impossible to do and make it possible.
Correct.
Like there's so much that we think is impossible. It's not really impossible.
No. and we've learned those tricks called screen of the mind, casework, right? Remember all that jazz?
Yeah.
And so what's really funny, I think, is to actually using those things. If I have a math problem, I use my calculator. It's just a tool that I know I have. But if I really want to solve a problem, if I really want to get somewhere I've never been, I use my imagination. And I sit there and I actually think about it. Recently, I've been doing about 30 minutes every morning. I get up around 6 or 7 a.m. I stop. I spend about 30 minutes in bed. I try to keep my foot on the ground because then I don't fall back asleep, right? You have your own time. So I put my feet on the ground and I just visualize, okay, what is my day, month, week, year going to look like? And how I see that, and what are the things I want, and how much money is in my bank account, and like just not worrying about when you're pulling out money and you're getting cash, and like, taking my mom to go eat at certain places and doing these things. Like, I like to visualize all that. And what I've been learning is the things that I've been holding very clearly in my mind, and I start vibrating on that wavelength. What happens is the other things catch up to my wavelength, or actually I catch up to the wavelength of elegance, and I start attracting more elegance. Raise your vibration.
Go with the elegance.
Go with the elegance.
What are you talking about?
So elegance. Elegance is a form of success to me. And traveling the world, seeing these people that are driving in Mercedes and Ferraris and, spending $500 on dinner. I actually went to a dinner that the dinner for 10 people was over $5,000.
Okay, crazy. Yeah.
That's what I said. And I was like, do I?
Was it like on those big plates and there's like a teeny bit of
No, it wasn't even fancy like that.
Okay.
It was at a Chinese restaurant. Like a normal Chinese restaurant.
How do you eat $5,000 worth of Chinese food?
That's a good question.
You're still hungry. You're hungry like an hour later.
There was something called gooey duck. Gooey duck is a clam. I don't know what they call it. And the gooey duck's a clam. Looks like a big clam, like thing.
You're not making the motions of a clam, by the way.
Well, I don't know, but that looks like a fat boto clam is what it looks like. No, so it's a huge clam. The shells are about this big, and it pops out, and it just like hangs like a thing. And it's called gooey duck. And I think each serving of that is like $500. And I was with Alan, the guy, and I was with a guy named Philip Chung from Canada. The one I was telling you that went to Milan for 5 years and just decided to go. I was with those scallywags, and we were sitting there drinking, eating. And he's like, Grant, do you like gooey duck? I'm like, yes, whatever gooey duck is, sounds great. I thought it was duck.
Yeah, it's not duck at all.
It's not duck at all. But I like seafood too, right? So for me, it's fine.
All right.
I love seafood. So it came on this plate. I was like, what is that? And they're like, well, it's a big clam that looks like this. And I go, okay, great. And we started eating it. And, after everything was said and done, the check came. And I don't know why they handed me the check. I guess I'm the tall white guy. So I get the checks. The Korean guy or the Chinese guy didn't get it. The Japanese guy, but the white guy gets the check. So I looked at it and I was like, whoa, $5,000? Like, holy, wow. Like $5,000? Like, okay. Like, I was like, can I help you guys with you're reluctantly like, can I help you with this?
Forgot my checkbook at home.
Like, I don't spend $5,000 for dinner. I mean, most I've ever spent for dinner is probably like $200, like for two people.
That's where you get the alligator arms.
Yeah,
for the
I can't reach
you.
No, but it was funny. Like, my one of my friends, Alan, picked up the check, looked at Philip, said, so are we splitting this? And he goes, yeah, no problem. And they both threw it on their cards and $2,500 each for 10 of us and didn't even blink an eye. Nice. And I thought that was really, I don't know why we went to that tangent, but so dwelling on the things that you want, I think is really the key that I would like anybody to hear that's listening right now is that if you want something, you just have to make it a burning desire. And if something's a burning desire, I say it like this. I don't know if women will understand this, but I know men will understand this.
Okay. Men, listen.
Do you remember that for all of you guys, remember this. Remember there was a woman that you wanted so bad. Like not maybe just to sleep with her, but dinner or to ask her out. And everything inside of you was just like, oh my God, like I need to talk to this person. And there's an over obsessing burning desire. It's in your head 24/7. You can't sleep. You keep thinking about her. You can't do your homework. You're thinking about her. You don't want to go out with your friends. You want to be with this person. And your whole world is just revolved around this one thought of you being with her. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. That. If you can have that in whatever you want, you will accomplish everything.
And it's just hard to get to that moment. I know people are going to complain and make excuses about, I can't do this. I can't do that. I don't have time to do this. It's
but think of like a woman.
You do have a lot of time. And when you, like you just said, if you're thinking about like finding a partner, like you're going to make the time.
Yes, you will make the time. So the question is, how bad do you really want it?
Prioritizing.
Yeah, prioritizing. Just pushing all the BS things out of the way.
Yeah. Like watching Netflix, that's real low priority. Sorry.
Yeah.
You don't have to binge watch stuff. You don't have to.
You don't have to
catch your show at a certain time.
You don't have to go out with your friends on Friday night.
You don't have to go out with your friends.
I haven't been out on a Friday night in I couldn't even tell you how long.
Yeah. And I know they say, and I know people are going to argue about this point too, but you don't need 8 hours of sleep. It's great and perfect to have 8 hours of sleep, but if you really want to be successful, you're going to have to give up a lot of that.
Absolutely.
You're going to have to give up so much stuff, going out, doing this, doing that, and sometimes you're going to have to give up having 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
You might dwindle it down to 6 hours or 5 hours, But if you want to get to the point that you want your success to be, whatever level your success is, like you're going to have to make sacrifices.
You have to get to a place where you forgot to sleep and you forgot to eat.
Yeah. Eating's another thing. Like I usually eat once a day. It's like
Well, you eat once a day?
Usually.
You should eat 6 times a day.
No, that's wasting time. If you can just take 6 times of eating a day and put it into 1 time of eating, you've saved all that time. You can do other stuff.
That whatsoever. You need nutrition.
Oh, we're gonna go on. So, episode 3, we're gonna go on to diet.
Yeah,
and
we
nutrition.
should totally do diet and nutrition. Yeah, totally. No, but I mean, for me, for an example, I eat at least 4 or 5, maybe 6 times a day. But I make my eating productive. Like when I have breakfast at the moment, I'm staying at productive.
Oh,
I don't eat meat at the moment.
Not duck.
No, I'm vegan at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So with that being said, I make my morning meals very productive. I'm staying at a friend's house. She's made over $10 million. She's dating this new dude. He's an amazing guy. So if you ever watch this, you're amazing, by the way. But when I'm staying at their home, I spend that morning to wake up with them so I can ask her questions. Because I'm staying in like in a spare room, right? So I get up and I actually ask questions about philosophies and things. So I make it a productive meal. When I have lunch, I don't just have lunch by myself. I make it a productive lunch. So I go to my mom's house because mom cooks. And I'm here only for another week and a half. So I go to mom's house and we get to fellowship and hang out. And then for dinner, I came to see you. And we're making it we're
drinking our dinner.
A productive dinner.
Yes.
I'm probably gonna eat something after this, but I think just making your meal times productive.
Yeah.
So it's not a waste of a meal. It's like, sitting at the mall or like, just doing nothing by yourself. Like I try to make every moment be as productive as possible.
That's a really great way to put it. And when you do that, you're bound for success no matter what level of success you're putting your goals and everything at. And you're just working towards it.
And the last thing I'll say, just in case you want to jump off or whatever, the last thing I'll say is that, it's really true. The 5 people in your circle, the people that you surround yourself with is going to be your level of success or what you're thinking because your environment controls everything.
So surround yourself with successful people and you'll naturally
get success.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
You'll kind of get on their vibe.
Yeah.
Their frequency.
Yeah, exactly. So do whatever you can and surround yourself with the most successful people you know. And
and that doesn't mean rich people. That just means successful people.
Exactly. Not saying anything to do with money. Nothing to do with money at all. Because success can be, there's multimillionaires that don't have any really form of success besides money. And that's not what I want. I want all aspects of wealth: money, friends, times, health, youth, all of that.
Good talk, man.
Yeah. Good to see you.
All right. Thanks for coming on to Hawaii Real, man. It was a great talk. And look for more episodes. And Grant, you're going to start a new channel for yourself on YouTube?
I am, actually. I'm going to start a channel for myself. You can Google me or YouTube me, Grant Chapman. You see the face. It should be my face on there. But I'm going to start one of the philosophy of success, the success principles from Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
Since I've been hanging out with a lot of people who have made millions and millions of dollars, and I've been studying them and what they're doing. And so now I'm going to take some of the things that I've learned and what actually worked for me, and I'm going to apply it and teach people for free on YouTube.
Awesome. Yeah. I look forward to it, man. And I'm going to hold you accountable to that.
Yes.
So do it.
I will.
All right, Hawaii. As always, stay happy.
Stay happy. Stay happy, Mitches. Hope you cut that part out.